It's story time.
Hello and welcome to the Storytime podcast. This week I have Hannah
Mamalis.
Yeah, right. I just wanted to make sure I got that right.
Oh yeah. Sticky one.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Hannah. I do acting, comedy, writing stuff. That's the general gist. A smorgasbord of all three kind of morphed together.
And where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter mainly, and that's at HanTMam. That's the main
I'll put
thing.
the link down in the description.
Cool.
So this week, and also again, thank you to Buddabag for providing the Buddabags. This week we thought we'd talk about like awkward sex stories and sexy stories.
Yeah,
awkward
they
sexy
happen.
stories.
They're a thing.
So you sent over three very interesting ones to me. What is your first one?
Well, it's kind of, I suppose, starting at the beginning of my sexual exploits, I guess. I was really awkward when I was younger. I mean, everyone kind of was in that sense. But I remember the first time a guy told me that he liked me, or I think he told me he liked me, or we were in primary school and he was like, oh, do you want to go out or something? And I bit him in the back.
Oh my god.
That was my reaction. I was like, and then just bit him. So
I'm intrigued by the science of that, like by the logistics. So he's like obviously facing you when he's talking to you. So did you just like run around the back of him?
I can't remember. I have a bizarre feeling we were on a football pitch for some reason. Maybe we were playing football and it was like a kind of like running by me thing like, oh, yeah, go out with me or something. And I was like, ah! Just like hopped on his back or something. I don't know. It was awful though. That was my that was how I dealt with.
So I'm presuming that
like
wasn't your first boyfriend then.
No. I was really awkward, and I remember I went to the Gaeltacht and I was awkward, very awkward then as well. I didn't kiss anyone in the Gaeltacht. Usually that's everyone's first kiss.
Yeah.
I
had a few Gaeltachs where I also did not kiss anyone.
swoons. I was such a before I went to the Gaeltacht, I was a massive fan of the Lord of the Rings movies. And the prospect of going to the Gaeltacht for 3 weeks and not watching the movies.
Oh yes, I should explain just in case we have any American viewers that the Gaeltacht is like an Irish college where you go for 3 weeks in the summer to learn. Well, under the pretense really of learning the Irish language, that's the whole point of it. But what you really do is like you get your first kiss.
And you go to a ceilidh, like a disco, and it was a bit debaucherous, really. So I was traumatised at the prospect of not being able to watch the Lord of the Rings movies. So I brought a scrapbook of photos of all the characters in Lord of the Rings, and I used to sleep with them under my pillow. Like, it was bad. It was really bad.
Oh my god.
So
I wasn't even that bad with Harry Potter.
I know, yeah. And so I didn't kiss anyone in the Gaeltacht, and then my first kiss, it was back at home, and it was the usual, like, my friend was seeing this guy and he had a mate, so it was like, oh, we'll all go together. And I lived in like a kind of small town in the middle of nowhere, so there wasn't really anywhere to go, and we wandered down to like a playground and kind of wandered around that a bit, and then the guy that I was supposed to be smooching, he was like, oh, let's wander over this way, and just beside the playground there was like a helicopter landing pad, and he was like, oh, let's just sit down here for a minute, and that was where I had my first kiss, and it was
on a helicopter landing pad.
But it was, it was awful. I think everybody's first kiss is well, like a playground here and then a helicopter landing pad here. It wasn't entirely ideal. So that was the first kiss. And then the first time I had sex, it was with a guy I knew. I didn't know him that well, and we kind of arranged the whole thing, and he was gonna come over. This was like in my first year of college, and we'd arranged the whole thing, and he was gonna come over and we were gonna watch a movie, and there was nobody else in my house, and so I was prepared for the whole situation to arise.
No pun
No
intended.
pun intended, yeah. And so we were in my room, and I think we were watching Sherlock Holmes, the movie version, as you do. And then we kind of started like smooching and stuff. And that was all fine, and it kind of it started escalating, and I remember it's just starting to freak out, and I was like, oh God. And I think my first freak out was about that I wasn't wearing matching underwear. So I made him stop. I was like, no, stop. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, nothing. And I just kind of left the room, or like rummaged around in my drawers, and then left the room and got changed into matching underwear. And they came back, hilarious. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to continue this now. And and we started kind of kissing and stuff again. And then I started freaking out that I didn't know him as well as I thought I should for this to be occurring, which is just because you've never done it before. And
yeah, you're like,
such a big deal.
Overthinking it.
Yeah, completely. So I decided to start quizzing him on stuff while he was trying to like kiss me, or while he was trying to take his clothes off. I was going, so what's your favourite colour? And then we ended up stopping because we got into this conversation about his parents being separated.
Oh my God.
and like this really deep, and it was because his parents are separated and my parents have been separated, and we were talking about it and how it affects
like, what
you.
an unsexy
So bad. And then I think we fell asleep for a while. And then eventually we woke back up and we did have sex, and it did happen. But that was a result of freaking out and going, no, I gotta we've obviously got to get into your deeply repressed memories here. This is what we have to do before we do this. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was, yeah.
Do you ever look back and think like about the first people that you were with, like say the first person you kissed or the first person you had sex, and you're like, hypothetically, I'd love to like do it again because they think I'm terrible at sex now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You're like, let's do it right. Let's
wait till I show you what I've learned in the last.
I know. Although the people that I first had sex with and first kissed and stuff, I kind of don't want to do it with them again.
I know exactly
but just
what
to
you
like
mean.
clean the you're like, hey.
I don't want to do it with you, but you think I'm bad at sex. You're so wrong.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Like, sorry. Yeah, no, definitely. Just, wipe that slate clean. Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, it is quite funny.
It's just funny how much of a big deal things are. I remember then when I did have sex, then I remember talking to my friends who hadn't had sex yet, and I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it, kid. Like,
yeah, it's
so
not a big
myself.
deal. It's only a big deal when you haven't done it.
Yeah, look, when you've done it, come talk to me, yeah. Like, so high and mighty on my pedestal, like, and having had really scrambly, like, grabbing the dark sex. No, oh God.
Oh God. I think the first time for everyone has to be awful. I think it's like a rule.
I think it is a rule. It's just, I mean, I think it always depends as well on the experience of the other person. That's going to be a factor.
Oh yeah.
Like,
true.
They can, it can be nice if you have somebody who can kind of maybe talk you through it a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Probably not something most people have. Most people probably
it's just like, we're both doing it for the first time. Like, which it is mostly the first time. Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, there was massive pressure to like do it on the night of the grad.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I remember there was like there were ideas of people doing it on the beach after the grad, and I'm just I'm unbelievably glad
I don't want to
I
do
was
that.
not involved in that. So I look back and I'm like, thank my Louis stars that I wasn't involved in that.
Yeah, no.
Because that kind of thing would have just been even worse. Cold
awful
and
sandy everywhere.
Ass.
Yeah, sand up everywhere. In every orifice.
Like it's already terrible.
It is.
Sand. No, a hard pass on
God.
that.
Were you in a girls' school or a mixed school?
I was in a mixed school, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was in a girls' school.
Oh, what was that like?
It was grand, yeah. I mean, maybe that added to why I was so awkward sexually for a long time because I just wasn't around boys really that much.
They say that I think is that girls do better in girls only schools and boys do better in mixed schools.
I think so. Yeah,
and I definitely could have seen that like element of distraction in my school.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I kind of when I got to about 15, I remember there was like a little split in my girls' school. There was a girls' school which I was in, and then there was also a mixed school in the area, and I was in the girls' school. And when we, after third year, a couple of the girls who were in my class moved to the mixed school, so we knew them then, and when we'd be hanging out with them, we'd be hanging out with the lads they knew from the school then. So that was kind of the first introduction. That was like, oh, boys, hello. Which was necessary, which I think, you know, I needed at some stage. Before that, it was just like, I didn't know where to look or what to do.
And did you, I suppose it's slightly different growing up in the country, because I remember we used to like go to mass in a different town, and then you'd be trying to, because we were in a mixed school out in one town, and then the next town, the other side of it. So we were in the middle, like where we lived, me and my friends. So we went to school on this side, and then on the other side was like the town with the boys' school, and you know where all the hot lads basically live. So we used to like go to mass in that town and be like trying to eye up who was at mass, and we'd be walking around that town on like a Saturday or whatever, just like trying to see who was around.
Walking around towns, that's how, like, I remember that was how I'd spend my weekend, is just walking in circles around the town and seeing who you'd spot along the way. It was ridiculous, like. Yeah. Doing rounds. That's what we used to call it, doing the rounds, like.
And are you from Dublin?
No.
Oh yeah, so you're the same as me then.
Yeah, originally, like, well, I was born in Dublin, and then when I was about 6, we moved down to Connemara.
Oh yeah.
And then that's where I lived until I moved back up for college.
Yeah, I'm from Mayo, so very similar experience.
Very similar, yeah. Definitely. And
just walking around town.
Walking around, and the place to go shifting was the parking lot of Super Value.
Yeah, they're always real romantic like that, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, one of ours was behind the school.
Yeah, that was it. It was
on a Saturday because there was nobody in it.
I think they wanted to be surrounded by concrete.
Yeah, incredibly romantic.
It was awful.
Yeah. And I think, and in my town, the back of the church was one as well.
Oh God!
Because nobody could, like, you couldn't see unless you were behind the church. You couldn't see behind the church.
That was it. It was just wherever is so concealed. Like there is so much shame here. Like feel that shame. You know.
You've never felt shame though. Like shame after you've shifted someone behind the
back
church.
Of the church. Yeah, I don't know. Helicopter landing pad beside a playground. You know.
Oh, beside the playground now is what makes it a little bit worse. Yeah.
Oh God, no.
And did you ever go to mixed discos?
Yes.
Actually, you're from Connemara. Did you ever go to the N17 or the N16? N16 was it?
No. What was that?
In Kilshma.
No.
Oh, that was. Wait till I tell you about this.
God.
So that was like the ultimate junior disco.
Right,
very
that's where you wanted to go.
Very like Wesley in Dublin. So I've heard stories about Wesley in Dublin that girls used to go with like their knickers around their wrists.
Yeah.
To show they were up for it or whatever. I don't know, is that true? But I mean, you used to go to Kilshma with like the intention to shift as many people as possible. It kind of became a competition.
Yeah.
So people would come back, and I mean the numbers would be ludicrous.
Yeah.
People would come back and they'd be like, I shifted 60 people. And it was literally, I know. And it was literally like, because it just became this competition.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't even, with those kind of numbers, you couldn't spend any quality time.
No, it would shift and literally move on to next.
And move on.
Yeah.
And lock lips, move on.
Wow.
There was a stairs in this Kilshma disco. So it was a big tall stairs up to the second floor, and what people would do was on every step they'd stop and shift someone. So by the time you got to the step, you were already like tipping 20. You know what I mean? I remember.
Is that how organised it got? Wasn't it like organised shifting? It was it was like competitive shifting.
I know, and I remember you'd come home, and if you had like 6, say, you'd be like, oh, it's a bad night.
Yeah.
And you'd feel really bad, and someone else would be like, I had 20, and you'd be like, oh my God, what's wrong with me?
What have I done?
And now I'm like, thank God I didn't gym more, because oh my God, I'd have some sort of disease.
Awful, like awful. Did they ever do foam discos there?
Foam discos. I was never at one as a teenager. I had one in college, but no, I never.
I remember going, I think it might have been somewhere in Carna or somewhere, like a big disco, because we all booked a bus and went out to it. and it was a foam disco, and I had a severe allergic reaction to the foam.
Oh no.
While I was there, my face went like really red and blotchy and sore, and it was horrific. Like, it was awful, and like there was nothing you could do to escape the foam. The foam was everywhere. Like, that was it. I think I still got the shift, but you know, grand.
And you couldn't even really leave because you were waiting on your bus to
That
be
was
home.
it.
Then
Yeah, your bus was coming at the same time. You didn't want to leave either. You know, I was like, I didn't want to miss out.
Yeah, you're
and I was like, I didn't want to go. Yeah, awful. God, the things you do.
Yeah, and I remember the amount of people in my school that used to get, you know, the thing you used to call kissing disease, whatever it was?
Glandular fever.
Strep throat or glandular fever, whatever.
I got it.
So many people in my school.
I got it. It was awful. And you know what the worst part was? I couldn't pin down who'd given it to me. That was it.
To warn everyone else about it.
I was like, not him, he's a dirty scrote. I got it when I was 17.
What's it like?
17. It was awful. It was horrific, because what it does is it just fucks with your immune system. And it's something that my immune system, like, since I had glandular fever, my immune system has been notoriously bad. It just like really undermines it. And I got it when I had it when I was doing my leaving cert. I had to take 2 months out of school, and it was fine. Like, I could do a lot of it from home, because a lot of it was just studying at that stage anyway. But it was just crap, because there's nothing for it. You just have to take loads of antioxidants and rest. That's the only thing that gets rid of glandular fever. You can't take like antibiotics. Nothing works like that. So it was just, and then I think it partially stays in your system for the rest of your life.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's a price to pay, you know, from a bit of shifting. Like, it's a price to pay. Yeah, rake people got it around me as well. But I
remember, apart from discos, like, the way in which people would meet up to shift would just be totally random. I remember I had one boyfriend who lived again in the town over. Yeah. And he was my boyfriend for a while. And we texted a lot.
Yeah.
But when we met up, we never spoke.
No. Oh, no.
Not a word was exchanged.
Lots of deep, meaningful conversations over text. Like,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think hello was the most we ever said to each other in real life. And like, we just meet up, go behind the school, just kiss for 40 minutes. And that's it. And now I'm like, ew, how, like, the thought of kissing someone for so long is just disgusting to me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just, and that'd be it. And then you'd leave, and then you go home, and then suddenly you'd be back into a conversation by a text, like proper, meaningful, deep conversation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Having not said anything to each other at all that day.
No, it was so bizarre. It really was. I think you were just terrified to talk to them for some reason.
Yeah, like, it was just so awkward. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember that particular boyfriend, my friend broke the news to me in biology class that it was just before Valentine's Day, that she had seen him walking around town with a rose that wasn't for me, because I didn't get one, so it wasn't for me.
Were you heartbroken?
Yeah, so I was crying in biology class, and having never really spoken to this gentleman, by the way, like but like he was
deep connection,
deep connection by a text, even though we never really spoke to each other. And so I was crying in biology class, and then the teacher was like, "What's wrong?" And they were like, "Her boyfriend cheated on her, miss." And then
so dramatic.
Yeah, and I was like. And then she was kind of like, oh, like, she like didn't know what to say. She's like, are you okay?
Oh, yeah,
like, yeah, I'll be fine. And then I went to a junior disco that night, I think, because this is the day before Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if he's going to cheat on me, I'm going to cheat on him. So I kissed somebody else that night. And then the next day, I like broke up with him via text, because again, we didn't really speak.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Who's the rose for, huh?" And he was like, "It was for you." And I was like, "No, it couldn't have been, because you never gave it to me," and all this. And then he was trying to wriggle out of it, and eventually I was like, "Yeah, well, I kissed someone else anyway." And he was like, "So you cheated on me then?"
God, going around.
I was like, "No, it's over. I hate you." So yeah.
I remember
it's very dramatic though.
It is. No, it is. I remember being heartbroken the first guy I kind of came out with, and it was the exact same thing. It was like only text and then meet up and just kiss for hours. Like, hours.
The thought of it now makes me cool.
It was just, it was slimy, like. And I remember.
And you'd come away, your jaw would be sore.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know, something really embarrassing, because I was quite innocent at the time, like, and And I remember we were kissing once, and it was down in the parking lot of Super Value, and we were kissing, and I felt something stick into me. Yeah, it was his penis, obviously, but not a clue.
Not a clue what it was.
And I thought it was his belt, and I was like, and I said it to him. I was like,
no.
Yeah, I said it to him. I was like, oh, your belt's sticking into me. It's a bit uncomfortable, and I couldn't understand why he was so mortified. He was mortified. I was like, oh, we just keep kissing, yeah? Like, awful.
Oh my god. That is very cute. It's very innocent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's mad.
You were saying your first boyfriend, something similar happened, like with my dramatic.
Yeah, it was
breakup.
It was a similar thing. I think it was just before Christmas. I think it was like 3 days before Christmas. So, I remember like all the presents sitting under the tree and stuff, and he texted me or broke up with me via text, I think, or something, and I remember being distraught, so distraught. And I remember my dad coming into my room. I think I had like my head under the covers and was just like bawling my eyes out. And he came into the room, and I think one of my friends was on the phone for me, and he was so tentatively like, Hannah, Jessica's on the phone. I was like,
like house phones.
Awful. Yeah. And then it came around to Christmas, and the presents he'd given me for Christmas were the last thing sitting under the tree. We'd opened everything else. I remember my parents being like tiptoeing around me, being like, what are you doing with the presents, Hannah? Will we open the presents? I was like, no, get rid of them. It was just...
You did open them though, right?
Yeah, I did open them.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do. Were they any good?
It was perfume.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Did you ever get perfume from a boyfriend in secondary school? Because I feel like that's all they ever give people.
I think that's all they
Lacoste
to give.
pink.
Yeah, I think this was something pink.
Yeah.
It was 100%.
It was definitely
like,
Lacoste pink. I bet money it was Lacoste
God.
pink. Everybody got a bottle of Lacoste pink.
Fucking shitty perfume. Awful, like
Lacoste pink. Like, oh my god, like anything is better than that.
It's mad how many...
there was the one with the lips on it. I actually did like that one. I wore that one. The Kiss Me, I think it was called.
Yeah, and I remember...
So Kiss Me.
Yeah,
that's it.
And everyone wore... remember, it was like CK Into You. It was like for her and for him. I remember all of the boys always wore the like for him version. It's mad how many parallels can be drawn between like
two totally different lives,
people and situations, and they're just the same fucking thing.
I think since the whole kind of aren't we so Irish like content on the internet, I've begun to realise that my experience growing up was not in any way unique.
No,
you think that like it's our town and we're so different, and like everybody's so different, and it's like no, everyone had the exact same experiences growing up,
the same
just
thing.
different names.
Yeah, and then they do all those listicles online now, like you're from here when
and I'm like, oh god damn it,
I do. I relate to this so hard. Yeah, it's mad. It is mad.
Oh god. Yeah. Well, it's funny. When you get older, sex isn't awkward anymore, and if something embarrassing happens, you can just laugh about it.
That's it.
But when we were younger, it was always so embarrassing.
It was. It kind of brings me on to story number 2.
Oh, go on.
Like, so that was the first times, kind of, and I have 2 really embarrassing stories about having it wasn't really a one night stand. One of them was a one night stand, and then one was a guy I was kind of sleeping with fairly regularly, but we weren't together. It was just hooking up, grand. And the guy I was hooking up with occasionally, there was one night where I don't think I'd expected us to hook up that night, and we'd met up and we went back to his, and I was wearing a giant pair of sucky-inny knickers, and they were horrendously unattractive. So I was like, okay, I was really, really drunk, and I was like, okay, let me try and rectify the situation. I was like, I don't really want him to see me in these horrendous knickers. I'm gonna go into the bathroom and take them off, and then just not be wearing any knickers. That's my plan.
Hey, you're real worried about your knickers. It's 2 second story now. You've had to change.
Literally, like, and I was like, right, okay. So I took them off, and I was like, what am I gonna do with them? And I was in his bathroom, and this is like the garbled thoughts that go through your brain when you're drunk. And I was like, brilliant plan. I'm gonna hide them in the toilet cistern. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh my
God. You didn't have a handbag or
no, I didn't have anything with me. I'd like left all my stuff in his room and then like gone into the bathroom to be like, hey, I'm gonna freshen up, and I shoved them into the toilet cistern. Oh, no. And that was it. And I was like, that'll be fine. I'll get them in the morning when I go to leave. And so we had sex, and that was fine. And then I went to leave in the morning, and I forgot them. I completely forgot them. Of course.
And also, they would have been
soaking wet. Yeah, I was like, I'll wring them out. It'll be fine. Completely forgot about them. And I remember I spent the week panicking.
Yeah.
That he was going to have some issue with his toilet. Like, that something was going to happen, and he was going to call over a plumber, and they were just going to pull out this pair of sopping knickers. Like,
absolutely could have happened.
Absolutely could have happened. Terrified. And I was like, well, obviously I'm going to have to instigate meeting up again this weekend so I can go back to his house and rescue my knickers from the cistern. And I did, and it was actually fine, and I picked them up, and it was grand, and I like rinsed them out. I think I brought a plastic bag with me.
Very good.
Chucked them into the plastic bag, and it was fine, but it could have been.
And he's none the wiser. All these years, he never knew.
None the wiser. None the wiser.
His toilet system for a week.
Awful. Could have caused serious issues. And then there was another time where I was leaving a guy's house, and this was I think this was like the once-off hookup, and that was it. And I was leaving, and I was pretty hungover, and I went to leave his building, and there was like a door, and then there were glass doors on the other side. And I walked out the door, and wherever my brain was, I didn't see the glass door, and I walked into it. And it smashed. And I'd like hit it, I think, with my head and my nose, and it smashed. And I
you must have hit it very hard.
Really hard. I think it might have caught my knee as well. I think I like went for it, and there was obviously maybe a weakness in it already, and it smashed, and I freaked out.
Oh, of course.
And my nose started pumping blood.
Oh my God.
And I ran. I was like, I can't deal with this in any way. But I ran in. There was like a small park beside where he lived, and I ran into the park, and my nose was like, there was blood just pouring from it, and I was like, I have to try and like stop this somehow. And I think I'd given myself a bit of all of these stories make me sound like a mental case. I think I'd given myself a bit of a concussion or something, and I like kind of was like crouching behind a bush. And I found this like t-shirt like on the bush, and I was like, great, I'll use that to mop up my bloody nose. And I kind of like mopped it up, and I was like, okay, fine. And I like put it back under the bush. And when I was putting it back, I kind of realized that it was a child's t-shirt. I legged it again, still freaking out. I was just perpetually freaking out, and then I remember panicking and calling my mom and on the phone to my mom and being like, what if that child was missing and they find my blood
all over the t-shirt,
all over his t-shirt?
What did your mother say?
I think she just laughed at me. She was just laughing, like, she was like, no, it's gonna be fine. She was like, you should probably just come home though. You might have a concussion.
Yeah, maybe wash your face because you put a dirty t-shirt on.
It was awful. So those are those that were catalysts from me hooking up with people. Yeah,
that is amazing.
That is it.
That's hard to top now, I must say that.
Yeah, they were intense experiences. It's always when I'm, I don't know, either drunk or hungover, and my brain isn't functioning properly, and I'm not thinking rationally in any way, and that happened.
That's amazing.
There we go. Yeah.
So you said that was story number 2, or was that 2 and 3?
That was 2. Those were two leaving the scene of the crime stories and what happens after or during.
So you have one more to finish this
one
out?
One more to finish yet. It's going back again to when I was incredibly awkward when I was 12.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, girl.
When I was 12, my friend and I decided to write our own porno magazine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, both of us
write a porno magazine.
Oh, it was write a porno.
Yeah,
well,
like.
we took it very seriously. It was called Do It Yourself Nakedness. And I remember somebody asking me, they were like, why did you feel this was the thing to do? And I think it kind of spawned from, we were like, oh, we're 12 and we're thinking sex things, kind of, and there's no porno magazines targeted towards us.
Yeah. We've smashed two Barbie's genitals together. We know what we're doing.
We're entrepreneurial spirit here. Like, we're gonna write our own porno magazine and maybe sell it. I think we literally were like, we're gonna sell it. We're gonna people are gonna want this, So it was really innocent. It was like spot the difference pictures and stuff of like a woman in a bikini lying on a beach, and it was like, oh, which is the boob and which is she missing a boob? I don't know. And then what else was in it? It was just like kind of really, really crudely drawn pictures of genitalia, because I think we had an idea of what a penis should look like. Like a vague, abstract, like a Picasso penis.
And was it anything like what penis is?
It was, yeah.
Did you know where the balls were? So did you at least have a basic?
Well, this was the thing. I wasn't entirely sure how the balls and the penis attached. So I used to just draw a lot of hair over where I thought they were going to attach. Yeah. I didn't want to, clarify that too much and embarrass myself, to our readers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I think I'd seen a penis at that stage I remember seeing a picture of a penis in one of my dad's art books.
Yes.
And being very traumatized by it. I think I thought it was like a kind of artsy photo of like a man nude sitting on like a large rubber ball. And I remember I looked at it and it freaked me out. And I thought it was cursed. I thought it was a cursed picture. I had one other one. I remember there was another picture in like a book I had, and it was like skeletons on a pirate ship. And I thought that picture was cursed, and I thought the penis picture was cursed.
Amazing.
And if I looked at either of them, I was going to be cursed. That was it.
Is that like a witch thing or a religious thing? Because I went through both phases where I was like, I can't think the word
religious persecution.
Because my mum was real religious, so I got into this real this sin and thought and
yeah.
And I'd be like, and I remember one day we were in Castlebar shopping, and my brain just kept going sex.
Yeah. You're like,
and
stop it.
Because I knew it was a bad word, and I was like, stop it, the devil's in my thoughts.
Yeah, he's got me.
Oh my God, he's got me.
Yeah, I think it was though. You're like,
yeah. I don't think it. Good clean thoughts only. Devil out.
It was, yeah. Kill it. But the more you try to do that, the more you think about it. You're literally thinking about it. Like,
I didn't even know what I mean. What it meant, but I knew the word. I shouldn't say it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was both of my parents were non-religious. So I think it was just more a thing in my own head that I was like, I think I always thought things were going to curse me for some reason. I used to have do you remember Pogs? Did you ever play with Pogs?
Yes, I did, yeah.
I had a cursed Pog as well. It had like a skull and crossbones on it, and I used to think that if I didn't that if I didn't put it at the bottom of all of the other Pogs in my Pog box, that it would come and kill me.
Oh my God.
That was it. Like,
well, I think country people are quite superstitious, because I feel like that was my experience growing up. Like, we were very suspicious.
Yeah, like fairies and circles and stuff.
Yeah, and then don't walk under the ladder and the black cat. And that kind of thing. Yeah, it was big.
It's definitely there.
Very superstitious down in Mayo.
Yeah.
I think it's a country thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pervading everything, you know what I mean? Just lurking around.
But I think I think a lot of people have a sort of story about how they first either saw something or found out about sex by accident the first time. Yeah. It's like horrific. So
it's traumatizing,
It's traumatizing. So I remember I found like this book in a box of books, and it was some sort of like Mammy loves Daddy, and now Mammy and Daddy get in the shower together and look at they're naked and they hug a lot. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? Yeah. But the worst one, and that wasn't too bad, but I remember being like, should I know this?
Is this knowledge I should have?
I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
And I was very young at that point. I think I was way too young to be doing that. I think I was like 6 or 7. Properly. Yeah. But I remember when I was a little bit older, but I was still only around 9 or 10 maybe. I took out my Ariel the Mermaid VHS tape and I pressed play, and it turns out it wasn't my Ariel the Mermaid VHS tape. It was Jenna Jameson, I think, and it had got put back in the wrong box.
That is a big fuck up for somebody in your family.
I know, and it's like back in the 80s or the early 90s.
Yeah.
He would have had to watch it in the sitting room.
Yeah.
Like I just think back to that and I'm like,
you're like, that was the only space for that. For that to occur. There was no privacy. Oh God. Oh no.
At least now, brothers and relations can go to their room and watch
they
on
can
their
just
laptop.
Oh God.
Oh
no.
Buddy. But yeah, so that was like we were just being like, what is this?
Whoa, Jesus. God.
I can't really remember what happened. I think I knew enough to turn it off and then not say anything.
Yeah.
But
did you ever say it? Did you say it? Nobody got in trouble.
I don't think I ever told my dad.
Right, you were just like,
but there was times where I got my brother in trouble on purpose.
He's doing something bad.
I vaguely remember going to my dad one time. My brother used to call people, like, he used to be like, oh, you Captain Bollocks.
Yeah.
And, like, I can't remember exactly. That doesn't sound right. But he used to call people Captain Bollocks as a thing. Yeah. And maybe it was just one friend, but I heard it anyway.
Yeah, it was.
And I remember one day being like, Daddy, what does Captain Bollocks mean?
Where do you hear that?
I knew I wasn't allowed to say it. I just wanted to say it.
Of course.
And my poor brother got in so much trouble.
Oh no. Captain Bollocks.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
We should bring it back.
One. Yeah, that sounds great. I remember. I remember the first movie I watched where I was like I think felt sexually attracted. To the character was The Matrix. Was Keanu Reeves in The Matrix?
Way.
And I was like, ooh, that's
the first one for me was Spike from Buffy.
Really?
Not even Angel. Spike from Buffy.
Spike.
First one that gave me funny feelings. I was like, what is it? I want to watch more of this. I don't know why.
Why is it?
More Spike on screen, please. I don't really know why I like it so
much. Yeah, it's funny. I remember one of my friends, her house was always the house to go over to watch inappropriate movies. Her parents were like a little laxer on that side of things. I remember when we were like maybe like 13 or 14, we watched Battle Royale, and
oh my God, that's an intense film.
It's so awful. But worse than that, I think I remember we watched Being John Malkovich, and it's a really bizarre movie. It's not overtly anything though, it's just odd because John Malkovich is very odd. He's an odd man. But I remember there just being one bit at the start where he's got like puppets or something, and he just has the puppets like dry humping the wall. And I remember that just freaking us out loads. We're like, what are they doing though? What is that? Because I think, like, then I remember in terms of like feeling sexual things, kind of the way it came out was like, I didn't know the full extent of it, but I was like, boys, I want to hug them with their tops off.
Oh, that's
nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's like, that's what I just want to do. Just like take their tops off, see their little boy chests, and hug them.
Yeah,
like,
real
just like, like that was true intimacy, you know.
Oh, that is so cute.
I didn't know. That's what we used to tell. We were like, yeah, we like him. We just want to hug him with his top off. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the Storytime podcast.
Thanks for having me.
If people want to find you online, remind them where they can get you.
Yes, Twitter at HanTMam, and then Instagram I think is just Hannah Mam, and I also run a website called The Gremlin, which is kind of a place where you can write weird and dark stories and stuff, and people can submit to that if they want to. I run it with a girl called Anna Walsh, and we have stuff up in there, and then other people have stuff up in there.
Oh, so amazing.
That's something too. That's on WordPress.
Yeah, maybe you could come back some other time and share some of the dark stories.
Gremlin stories. Yeah,
definitely.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Subscribe. We're on SoundCloud and now on iTunes and Stitcher and Pocket Cast and YouTube.
All of the stuff.
All of the stuff. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.